This is a summary of the novel Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoyevsky. This novel was published in 1866, and it follows the life of a man called Raskolnikov. Now, before I go into the summary of this novel, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and please tell me how you guys feel about this video. Does it help? Is it in a way? Does it help you in any way? Basically, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Are these videos helpful? So let's get into the summary of this novel. This novel is Crime and Punishment, and really in many ways, in several ways, throughout this novel, you understand why this novel is called Crime and Punishment. Raskolnikov is um, a student. He's a kid who leaves his home. His mother sends him to college to get an education. But when he gets there, life is hard for him. At first, he's doing very well, but his finances start to dwindle, and Raskolnikov ends up dropping out of his university, and he lives in this really bad apartment, and he hasn't paid his landlady in months. So that's how the novel begins. We find Raskolnikov in a bad point in his life. His mother and his sister Danya, they're not doing very well. Financially, they're just not well off. And, Raskolnikov is in the same place because his mother is, where his income was coming from. And since his mother is not doing very well in the novel, he's not doing very well. So Raskolnikov in the novel gets this idea to murder this little old lady. Now, this little old lady is a pond woman. You bring her trinkets, you bring her, things of value, watches, maybe things that are like that have gold, anything that can be of value. In the novel, Raskolnikov brings a bunch of things to this lady for money, and he's basically living off of his personal or his family heirlooms. And in the novel, this little old lady, she's not really liked because she cheats a lot of people, a lot of men out of their prized possessions for bad money. So, you give her a watch and she's not giving you the exact amount that it's worth to you. So you see Raskolnikov and a bunch of other men are really mad at this in the novel. And in a way, Raskolnikov kind of puts on himself to give justice. But it's really not. That's not really why he kills the old lady. He does it also for money, which even that is ambivalent because in the novel he does kill the old lady, but then the stuff, the gold, the whatever that she had of value that he stole from her, he didn't sell it off. He didn't use it for money. He just buried it under a rock for at least a year or more. So the novel really it looks at Raskolnikov in a psychological way. We see him go through these different facets, through different points in his life where he's not really doing well, where he's struggling mentally, physically. He's also battling himself. His mental state declines at several points in this novel. So that's how the novel essentially that's how the novel is set up. We get this problematic situation. Raskolnikov's a murder, and really the novel focuses on the community in which Raskolnikov lives in. It focuses on the officials, the police officers, the detectives. It focuses on them trying to figure out who killed this little old lady. And Raskolnikov didn't just kill this old lady; he also killed her sister, a family member. So he kills two people because he didn't want any witnesses. He didn't want anyone to see what happened and rat him out. So he killed the old lady, the pawnbroker, and also his sister. So this, you know, basically builds this big mystery in the novel as to who killed this old lady. So we see Raskolnikov, he kind of slowly and meticulously lose his mind. Um, he doesn't become insane, he stays sane, but the guilt that he faces in the novel of killing two people, even though he tries to justify it, it still hurts him. He has a lot of horrible nightmares. He has a lot of, um, nightmares where he depicts himself murdering the old lady all over again. So the novel does go through in that linear form where we see what happens to Raskolnikov after he commits this heinous act. Another point in the novel that's worth mentioning is where Danya, this is Raskolnikov's sister, he's very fond of her. In the novel, Danya was trying to marry someone so that she can obtain um, I guess, a better financial status in life to somehow save her mother and her brother. Um, but, you know, that doesn't work out because Raskolnikov, he's a prideful man. He really, you have to respect him because um, you know, he didn't want his sister to marry someone for money. He didn't want his sister to marry someone because of him. He was, even though he was in poverty, he still had this optimistic um, view that life was going to get better for him. So the novel, we do see people propose to his sister. There's a number of suitors that come forward to propose to his sister, but Raskolnikov doesn't like all of them, and that goes back and forth. So that's another. I would say that's the B line of this novel. Raskolnikov's whole endeavor with the old lady is the A line, and um, his sister's, I guess, romantic life or um, quest to get money is the B line. So in the novel, Raskolnikov does meet this man at a bar, and this is where the novel really heads towards. Raskolnikov meets this man at a bar. This man, he's a drunk. He's not a good person. He's really not a good person because his daughter Sonia, because that her father is not taking care of her, Sonia goes into prostitution. And the rest of this man's family, they're not doing well. They're wearing the same clothes all over. They can't eat. They just have horrible lives. And Raskolnikov does end up helping this man and his family. Um, in the novel, this man does die. He gets trampled by a horse, and Raskolnikov, in the end, take care of the family. Both this, like the man and both his wife, die in the novel, and the kids become orphans. Sonia, his daughter, she was already of age. Her profession was prostitution. Um, it's a very sad family in the novel. But Raskolnikov does have this humanitarian, or you know, he tries to redeem himself. That's a better way to put it. Because after killing the old woman, he tries to find a way to redeem himself in the novel, and the way he tries to redeem himself is by taking care of this family, by taking care of this family who's struggling. So the father dies, the mother dies, the children become orphans. But Sonia is a key figure in this novel because she is Raskolnikov's way to redemption. Um, because Raskolnikov really enjoys, or he really likes, Sonia's character. She's a very um, timid. She's not flamboyant in any way. Um, and Raskolnikov kind of takes her character and he trusts her. And he sees that she can be his redemption. So towards the end of the novel, Sonia does convince Raskolnikov to, confess his sin, to confess that he murdered the old woman, and her sister, and they find the evidence. He gives the evidence. The money that he stole from the old woman all along, after a year or more, they found it under the same rock that he buried it under after the murder. And they do send Raskolnikov to prison for 7 years. And Sonia, she doesn't go to the prison, but she goes to live near the prison, and she waits for Raskolnikov to get out. She becomes his support. She becomes his family essentially. And that's how really the novel ends. Raskolnikov goes to prison. The suitors that Raskolnikov's sister Danya had, they one by one kind of go away. Some of them were just not good individuals. They were not good people. And so they were more out for their own good. They weren't really trying to help Danya's family. So the novel ends with Raskolnikov um, understanding that, or coming to find that he loves Sonia. And the novel kind of leaves us with the idea that once Raskolnikov gets out of prison, him and Sonia are going to be together. So that's just a basic view on Crime and Punishment. This is a very long book. Um, and really, I just wanted to give a synopsis on what happens in this novel. Most of the characters in this novel are Russian. The reason why most of the time I didn't pronounce their names, it's because I think I would butcher their names if I tried to say them. Because they're all Russian names, and it's just I don't speak Russian. So we're gonna have to take that as it is. But overall, this novel was really interesting. Um, it says a lot about us as humans and um, how certain things can bother us. Um, to me, what it really fundamentally says is that humans, we are not meant to kill others, or we are not built to kill. That's why soldiers have PTSD. It's because we cringe at the idea of taking life away from another being. After Raskolnikov killed the old woman, his even though that he tries to justify it, he writes this paper that goes in the newspaper in the novel that's really popular on on crime and why someone should be justified for killing somebody else. But it doesn't fit because at the end he still has um, like his morals. They he's just not in the right mind. I don't have words to describe how he feels. He just feels that killing is not right. He just feels that killing shouldn't be done. And he redeems himself uh, by confessing that he killed the old woman. And really, he gets a light sentence in the novel because he confessed his sins. And a lot of people come forward in the trial and say that Raskolnikov is a very good soul. He saved a few people from fires. He also, he took care of that family, the man's family who died, and the man who died. He personally paid for the man's funeral. So based on those factors that Raskolnikov was a good person, he doesn't get a heavy sentence. And the novel really ends in a somewhat happy tone. So that's Crime and Punishment. That's just a brief summary, brief synopsis. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. I can't speak today, but anyway, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.